What's good, y'all? The Houston Rockets have been one of the biggest surprises of this season. They started off the season pretty shaky like most people expected, going 0-3, but then they rattled off 6 wins in a row and a few impressive wins in there too, like ones against the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. But since then, they went on a 3-game losing streak, losing to the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Golden State Warriors. Some of those games were pretty close though, so it's not like they're just getting blown out by these teams, but they're now sitting at 500. They're 6-6 in the 8th seed out west. And the combination of their new culture and overall just structure brought to the team from new head coach Ime Udoka, alongside with the veteran pieces that they signed in free agency, it's all really helping this young team grow and bring them to the next step. But that brings on the question, are they a real playoff contender? I want to start by talking about the Rockets' biggest strength, and that is their defense. I know this might come as a surprise to some people because they don't really have that many defenders on their team, but when I made my preseason preview video on the Rockets, I did expect them to have a pretty decent defense. As good as 5th in the league? Nah. But I did think it was going to be one of their strengths just because Ime Udoka is notoriously a great defensive coach, and this young Rockets team has a lot of athletes and a lot of talent that if they bought into a scheme, they would be able to, compete on the defensive side, and that's exactly what they're doing. Ime Udoka implemented a perfect defensive scheme to really just support the type of players he has on his roster. One of the things that this Rockets team does the best is defend the three-point line, only allowing teams to shoot just above 33% from 3. That's 2nd in the league. But they do really struggle at defending the rim. They allow teams to shoot just over 65% from there, which is 22nd in the league. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It doesn't really make sense how the Rockets have one of the best defenses in the league while also allowing teams to just, finish at the rim at will, basically. And you're right, that doesn't really make sense. But it's all kind of calculated in this Ime Udoka scheme. They allow teams to shoot a lot of three-pointers, over 41 three-point attempts per game, while also limiting their shots that they can actually get off at the rim at about 31 shots per game. And this kind of brings back to what I was talking about Ime's scheme and the fact that he knows his personnel, he knows what they're good at, and he plays to their strengths. He knows that their center, Sengun is not a rim protector, Jock Landale is not a rim protector, and then even when they go small ball a little bit, they have Jeff Green, who's about like 6'8", he's not really a high riser, he's not going to be able to block shots at the rim, and then Jabari Smith Jr., they've even experimented a little bit, him running some small ball 5, and he does not have the strength of the interior defense to really defend like that. So Ime knows that he doesn't have the bodies and the personnel to guard the rim like that, so he's going to let his rangy guard perimeter defenders to just kind of go wild and get those contests on those three-point shots. If you think about it, on this Rockets team, he's got guys like Dillon Brooks, who just last year was an all-defensive team member. He's got Jae'Sean Tate, who's been great off the bench for them. Tari Eason is just coming back from injury, and he's been looking pretty good in the little spurts that we've been able to see him. And then at the guard position, he's got Fred VanVleet, who has been, for his entire career, a plus defender. He's got Aaron Holiday, who's showing him that he can still play in this NBA and really carving out some good minutes for him. He's got a lot of guys that are really good at chasing around the perimeter, making shots just difficult, and just hopefully they can't get to the paint, and that's how it's working out so far. Again, I do want to give a lot of credit to Ime Udoka and his defensive scheme for really turning this Rockets into actual a defensive-minded team. Just last year, they were 29th in the league, and I know they added the different guys like Dillon Brooks and like Fred VanVleet and all these vets, but still, going from 29th to top 5 right now, an insane jump. Shouts out to Coach of the Year candidate right now, Ime Udoka. We can't credit the Rockets' success to strictly their defense, though. They also have one of my favorite up-and-coming players in the entire NBA, Alperen Sengun. Ime is putting a lot of trust into Sengun and allowing this team to run the offense through him a majority of the time. He's averaging a career high in minutes per game, in field goal attempts, and usage rate. And Sengun is taking advantage of this opportunity, averaging a career-high 21 points, 6 assists on 59% from the field and 35% from 3, while keeping his turnovers virtually the same. You could tell that in this offseason, Alpi has worked on his touch a whole lot, even though he was a great touch guy, before his career, but now it's on a completely different level. I mentioned just before he's averaging a career high in three-point percentage and three-point attempts, so that's really coming along. He's not a knockdown shooter by any means, but it's still working its way up because he does look like he can become a high volume and good shooter. Where you can really see it is in his mid-range. He has a deadly mid-range this year. I know sometimes he shoots that little one-legged shot. It's got like a little dirk to it where he kicks his leg out and, knocks it down. It's just butter every single time, it looks like. It's allowed him to shoot 70% in the long mid-range, which is anywhere from 16 feet out to the three-point line. And then overall in the mid-range, he's shooting 60%, so he's really feasting down there. He also seemed to really work on his floater push shot thing. It's really ugly, I'm gonna be honest, Sengun. If you're watching this, my fault. It looks really ugly, but if it goes in, it goes in. That's all I care about. It's like a little, I don't know it looks just so weird on the push shot, but like I said, it goes in and it's going in at a very high rate. Don't get me wrong though, he still does use his size to bruise down low. It seems like every single time he has a mismatch, he gets the ball in the post, does a quick drop step, and he's right at the rim. Easy finish like that. He will use that drop step against other bigs too and has a lot of success with that. He can also put his shoulder into you and just back you down, up, flip, right in, use that touch again. And he's good for at least one crazy dunk per game. He'll just go in and just yam on him. He's sneaky athletic. I know that's a joke that they use a lot for white players, but for Sengun, he doesn't look athletic whatsoever. No disrespect again, but he'll just come down the lane and just yam on you like it's nothing. Him and Fred VanVleet have also seemed to get a lot of chemistry in their pick and roll together. With Freddie being such a great willing passer with Sengun, it's pretty easy. He just sets the big body screen, then dumps it right down him. He'll either cut to the basket hard and finish through people, or that's where he'll pop out that little floater push shot thing. His mid-range on the pick and pop will go crazy as well. And I've talked this long about Sengun without bringing up arguably his best, feature on offense, and that's his playmaking at that center position. In that pick and roll, he's also very good as a passer out the short roll, just getting it, reading, reacting to the defense. If the double's coming, kick to the corner, kick to the, dunker spot, whatever. Also, playmaking out of the post up is incredible. He'll either, just dump it down off a cut, or he went cross court, see someone spotting up for three, cross court, just one arm, just all the way over there, dotted over. He's an incredible playmaker. I'm just happy that Alpi is playing for a coach that finally sees the potential and the offensive talent that he has and realizes, hey, if we want good offense, let's run through this kid, and it's working. I do want to highlight a few of the other players for this Rockets team, though, because let's be honest, it's not just Sengun going out there. I've already mentioned a little bit with Fred VanVleet. He has been an incredible playmaker for this team. It seems like they always had a lot of young scorers and guys that really wanted to get their own, besides LP. He's been, there playmaking for a while now. But it seems like they've always, a lot of the perimeter players are more scorer and me first type of guys. So Freddie coming in here as a veteran is able to slow down the offense, really get them into certain sets and get other people involved in the offense as well. It's worked wonders. Dillon Brooks, I've mentioned him before when talking about the defense. He's been incredible defensively, but also offensively has been out of his mind with this. Shooting super efficiently on catch and shoot threes. Also on the drives, he's shooting super efficient. It's just a little weird to see considering in Memphis he's notorious for being an inefficient scorer, and now he comes to Houston and is just lights out. Jabari Smith Jr. has also gotten more efficient in his scoring, which is incredible, works wonders for him and this team as well. I think he is benefiting from the more structure from Ime, also the more structured offense, like I mentioned before, with Fred VanVleet and with Sengun really being more playmakers on this team. He's just playing closer to the rim a lot more, not taking any of those crazy mid-ranges or those crazy off-the-dribble threes, just kind of calming it down for himself, and it's working out. And I also want to give a shout out to their bench mob, specifically Jae'Sean Tate and Jeff Green. Both players have been playing very amazing basketball this year for the Rockets so far. Just really super switchable wings, doing a little bit of whatever they need off the bench. I feel like Tari Eason also kind of slides into that mold as well. Like I said, he's just coming back from injury, so we want to see him get more into a full rhythm. And then Amen Thompson, hopefully he can learn from these guys, because that's how I think he can make the biggest impact, at least right now in his rookie season. And the offense isn't strictly there yet, so maybe if he can learn a little bit from Jae'Sean Tate on how to rebound a little bit more, and Tari Eason on how to lock into the defensive end, and just a little things from all those guys, I think he could fit into that mold perfectly. And now to answer the question that I started this video off, are they true playoff contenders? My answer is no. I don't think so. I think that they're going to be more of a play-in team. I don't think they're going to be a lock for that top 6 seed. As you see now, they're kind of falling back into that 8th seed, and they have some pretty heavy-hitting teams below them still as well. But I think that they have a very real shot at getting anywhere from 8 to 10 and getting into that play-in team. What I think they are missing the most right now is efficient perimeter scoring. Fred VanVleet, I mentioned he's great playmaking and everything, but he's shooting 40% from the field. Not even 40. He's shooting below 40% from the field, and I think like 35% from 3. I know he's one of those guys that efficiency is never going to be incredibly high because he takes such difficult shots. But still, they need some type of efficient scoring. And a lot of that same stuff can be said about their other backcourt mate of Jalen Green. He also shooting below 40% from the field and below 35% from 3. You just need, when you have both of your guards like that, you need someone to get something going on the perimeter. And Jalen has shown flashes of him being able to be an efficient scorer in this league and score, 40 points and 38, 35s here and there and everything. But his biggest thing is consistency, and I thought that Freddie coming in here, really helping facilitate the team and getting the offense a little bit more calm and structured, I thought that would help out Jalen Green, but he still hasn't been able to get that going just yet. Then again, it's still just 12 games into playing for Ime in this new system and more structured basketball in the NBA. So I do want to give him time. But as of now, if he doesn't step up, that's still a very big hole in this Rockets offense. And just overall, they are lacking a perimeter presence offensively as a whole. They don't have a lot of volume shooters like that. I know Freddie is a volume shooter, but not a high efficient shooter. Dylan Brooks, I mentioned he's shooting great from 3, but not on a high volume. Jae'Sean Tate has been shooting great from 3, not on a high volume. They'll sometimes run Reggie Bullock out there to help space the floor, but still he's 30 whatever years old right now, not on shooting a high volume 3s. So if they add some more 3-point shooting to this team, able to space the floor out for Şengün, for Freddie, who likes to slash to the basket as well, this can change the whole dynamic of the offense. Again, want to give a whole lot of credit to Ime Udoka for really accelerating the process of this rebuild in Houston. I think if they continue going down this line of, helping grow their young players to know how to win basketball games, keep bringing in the correct vets under Ime Udoka, and just keep, getting this scheme fully down. They got the defense looking very great. Switch that over to get the offense going a little bit more too. Yeah, this team's going to be nasty in a few years. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch ya.